Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome back to our webinar. And if this is your first time, special welcome for you. So the name of the webinar, Interactive Trading Conversation, that means that we really communicate here. And this was my idea, just to share with you how this webinar came along. I do weekly market review webinar every week, and then I realized that we do amazing webinars for people, but it's just part of the webinar that's dedicated for questions. So what we do here, actually, people come and ask questions about specific markets, anything tradable on AvaTrade. We'll be happy to discuss. More people are joining, so welcome everyone. We're starting our weekly webinar, Interactive Trading Conversations. My name is Simon Friedman. A few things about myself. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been involved in trading since June of 2000, so it's more than 24 years. It went like 24 weeks, trust me. I was a prop trader in New York City for about 11 years, and then after that, I moved away from that stressful environment. And of course, I continue trading, and I'm very happy I have a great opportunity to be assisting our customers at AvaTrade. So, what we do here, it's very simple. The same way you confirmed that you could see and I could see the presentation, you could hear me. Same thing in the same question window. You're going to type your questions, specific questions on markets. We'll discuss it. We'll take a look at the charts. If I know anything fundamental, I cover a lot of markets. If I know anything fundamental, I'll be happy to share with you as well. Risk warning, you can find a full statement at avatrade.com website. And of course, everything we do here is purely educational. We do not suggest any trading, any trades. Social media channels, please feel free. I will be happy if you join us. Telegram, X, YouTube is always, as I mentioned, my favorite. You have a lot of information that is updated on a daily basis, so please don't miss anything. Click subscribe. If you like it, please don't forget to click on the likes. I have a lot of views and people are a little bit stingy on likes. So it's either they don't like it or maybe they just forget to click on the YouTube. It just takes a split second. I usually if I watch YouTube, I watch a lot of things of a lot of people. If I do like it, I just click like in the middle of it. But again, I'm not trying to bribe you. If you like it, click. If you don't worry about it. Also, feel free to write your comments. Your feedback is important. Questions, if you have any, will be great. Okay, so questions. We started maybe 2 or 3 weeks back to actually to use the questions that were being that we receive from the participants. So I'm going to start with those questions, and please feel free. All you have to do, like I said, you type a question in the questions window. You want to know about certain commodity index, company shares, pair of currencies, whatever you'd like to know. Type it, we'll go through it. So we're going to start with questions, so I don't need to beg you. These are the questions that were posted, and I'm going to start with these. So the first question, interest rate decisions. As central banks continue to announce potential rate adjustment, what impact do you anticipate on Forex market, especially for currency pairs involving Euro, USD, GBP? We all know, I mean, I'm not going to go around it too much. We all know that the Feds, the Feds who really working hard on controlling the economy, controlling the employment, controlling things. They've been really struggling since a while ago, let's put it that way, to control the inflation as inflation went really skyrocketing. So far they've been doing a good job. We had few cuts. We have a meeting coming up in December. Up until last Thursday's speech of Powell, it was, I think, 85% probability according to the CME tools that they'll have another quarter of a cut, but based on what he had to say, the price, or not the price, but the percentage went down to about 60%. So we might still have that quarter percent cut coming. I think it's the 18th of December, if I'm not mistaken, and or not. So we'll find out. Market also reacted to it because lower interest rates is better for markets, as a lot of big companies or any companies are borrowing money, and if they have to pay more, it's not so great. If after another rate cut and another rate cut, or whatever the Feds have in store, they'll be paying less for money that they borrowed. That will be affecting their earning reports in a positive way. So the market reacted negative way. Of course, if we have another cut now, since then, that Thursday, US dollar actually went up. And today, actually, it continued to go higher. It's keeping very, very strong. And of course, if you take euro or pound, is on the flip side. On the strong dollar, those two currencies are weak. Okay. U.S. presidential elections. I'm not going to go into this because it already happened, but we all know. I think I'm reading the old questions. I apologize. I just didn't. These are the questions from the previous webinar. I thought so. I apologize. So these are the fresh ones right here. Impact of inflation data release. With inflation still a primary concern of many economists, how do you anticipate the latest inflation report will impact the stock and bond market? So we know also right before Powell's speech that I mentioned last Thursday, we had the CPI on Wednesday and then PPI on Thursday. So the inflation, it's one of the three major aspects that the Feds are watching. They're watching what the economy is doing in general. They're watching the employment situation, and they're watching the inflation, which is shown by the CPI, PPI, and a few other things. So definitely, if inflation doesn't go up, I think the latest report showed the inflation is doing much better, but it's still very stubborn in the housing area. As the rent and other things keep on showing a lot more inflation than the other aspects of living. So that's something that still affecting the Fed's decision, definitely. And the same story you can hear from Powell. Every speech, every decision they make, they say it's all data dependent. So they're watching each data each month, each report, and they make decision on that. And of course, based on that decision, the stock market is being affected, the bond market is being affected, and so on. So since the latest report we saw, as the market actually had a little bit of a correction, and the bonds also went down, the yields went up, and the treasuries went down. So this is the latest thing. Let's see how more data will be affected. But as of now, that's the situation. The second question, commodities and geopolitical risk. And the question goes, with geopolitical events potentially influencing commodity prices, especially in energy and agriculture, what are your thoughts on commodities trading strategies right now? I mean, we're not here to suggest strategies, so I'm not going to go into it, but in general, if you take a look, you know, with the war with Russia and Ukraine started, the grains, they got affected a lot, especially corn and wheat, mostly wheat, because both Russia and Ukraine are big exporters of that. And then Ukraine got stuck with a lot of wheat in the port of Odessa, and they couldn't ship it. I think Turkey was assisting them some. So there was a lot of turbulence back then. As of now, it's still being affected, of course, and unfortunately, with the war going on in the Middle East as well, there was a lot of uncertainty about oil, crude oil, right, prices. So we did have a little bit jumpy market for oil, and lately oil has been pushing down a little bit. So that's the current situation. And as you know, since Trump won the elections and he's starting to be a president of January 20th, I think. So there are going to be changes. There's a lot of talks that, I mean, he talked a lot. There was his campaign as well that he's going to stop all the wars and other things. So let's see how that's going to work out. And definitely we'll see fluctuation and we'll see moves in commodities. So you do have, it's a right question here. You have agricultures with the grains, and you have energy mostly affects the oil prices. And the third question, cryptocurrency trends and tightening markets. As governments consider more regulations on cryptocurrencies, how do you see this affecting demand for major digital assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum? It's a great question. Again, it's about Trump at this point. It was part of his campaign as well, that he's very positive about cryptocurrencies. And as you know, since he won, we saw a tremendous move in cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin. We were around 70s, and we're in the mid 90s now, I think. So it looks like the new administration will be really in favor to cryptocurrency assets. So we already seen tremendous move to the upside. Let's see if that continues. Okay, so these are the questions, and I see some of you are writing the questions. Please do not hesitate. Write your questions. So far, I have a few of them. So we're going to start. Brendan is asking, what would be your approach to fundamental and technical analysis for Nasdaq versus gold versus FTSE? Okay, good question. We're going to bring now the platform, and we'll try to go one by one. So we have questions about Nasdaq, gold, and FTSE. So those are three different markets, right? You have Nasdaq is the index that contains 100 stocks, mostly technology stocks, and also it's the U.S. index, right? So you have to watch the U.S. economy. You have to watch all the decisions of the U.S., including the any economic data, interest rate decisions, major speeches, central bank, quarterly reports of the companies, and so on. So these are the things to watch when you see Nasdaq. Now, gold is a commodity, and gold, I think every meeting here we speak about gold. Eric is not here today. Eric sometimes asks the question about oil and gold. So I say the same thing with oil. It's being affected by inflation, and the price of a dollar, of course, also is being affected by the equity markets. As it goes, a lot of time it goes the opposite direction. As today, we had a sell-off in the market, right? Here we go. It was a sell-off and across the board, including the Nasdaq. It's in red. And if you take gold, it actually went up today. So it looks like it was something they called a risk-off day when the equities are selling. So people are taking money out of equities, and money go into safety zone, and that's what one of the names that gold has. One of the hats that's wearing, it's a safe haven when the risk of trading take place. Also with the wars, a lot of it to do, especially in the last couple of days, we had President Putin of Russian Federation. He announced a pretty scary thing, so everybody's freaking out about him possibly using the nuclear weapons in response to Ukraine attacking with the long-range rockets. They had the green light from President Biden. So as you could see, 3 days up on gold, and Nasdaq is selling today. So that's gold. And if you take FTSE, it's also equity. It goes in sympathy to U.S. indices, of course, as today it's the all global market. but a lot of it to do, of course, with local economy, politics, the state of inflation, the interest rate. I think we're currently at the same interest rate in the US and UK. It's 4.75, I believe. So, and the same thing, I forgot to mention NASDAQ, the interest rate and inflation, of course, affects the NASDAQ. So that's as far as fundamentals, a lot of fundamentals. As far as technical, it doesn't matter. I always say, you show me the chart, I don't need to see what's in it. If I do purely technical, it could be potatoes, oranges, or NASDAQ, or euro, or oil, or anything. Technical analysis is technical analysis. You either look, I mean, again, there's a different branches of technical analysis. You could look for different formation. You can just follow price action. You can use indicators. You can use all kind of things, and it's all technical analysis. So there's no differentiation of things. You don't treat, if you approach the technical analysis in the same way, you treat any instrument the same way as you treat any other instrument. All right, but fundamentals are different. As you know, the Nasdaq and the FTSE are indices, so they have a lot of similarity. Gold, if you compare with those, sometimes it goes the opposite direction, and it has other things that influences that as well. All right, good question. Brandon also has the second question. Guys, I don't have any other questions. I forgot to mention, if we run out of questions, we're gonna call it a day, or in this case, the evening. So please, we have a nice group of people. Again, some people came after I did the introduction. So we here ask questions about any markets that are tradable on AvaTrade. So you can write your questions in the questions window about specific asset, and then we'll take a look as a simple question that Brendan asked here about NASDAQ, gold, FTSE. And here comes the second question of Brendan. How do you feel index fluctuate due to companies' quarterly report? Good question. As you know, as I mentioned, NASDAQ, right? It has 100 tech companies in it. Dow Jones has 30. S&P 500 has 500. So as companies report, speaking of which, in about 2 hours and 40 minutes plus, that's the market closes in about 2 hours and 40 minutes, the US market. And right after that, it could be right after, it could be a few minutes later. I don't think they say exactly, but they say after the market. NVIDIA is reporting. As you know, NVIDIA is probably the biggest stock in AI technology, as it provides the hardware for that technology. And a lot, I mean, all the professional traders, also some retail traders, are really waiting for that report. And you know why? Because there was excitement with Trump taking a win, and but then it was realization that his policies could actually hurt the economy. One of the things that he's trying to do is they raise tariffs, especially with China, and a lot of companies have production in China, so it's going to cost them more to bring it into the States. So that means the product that they make, the final product, will be priced up, which will make them either lower the price and lose the profit share, or keep the price and then not being competitive. So it's going to be very interesting. So a lot of more thoughts coming in on kind of a negative impact of the policies of Trump. So I guess we're going to find out. So NVIDIA definitely today will be reporting. So in general, after each quarter, it's about a month and a half, 2 months till all the companies are reporting. And some of them have a big influence. Like if you take the Magnificent Seven stocks, you have Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, those stocks. I think the 7 major ones. I don't know if I call all of them. They affect the indices a lot because they have a huge market capitalization, so they have a big weight on uh, on the index, and the same thing with Nvidia as well. So today we will see. Actually, it's going to be an example, an illustration of your question here. You're going to have a nice answer when Nvidia reports. The retail traders can't really trade stocks after the market. But definitely tomorrow when the US market opens, we will see some major gaps, either up or down, depends what NVIDIA will do. And everybody thinks that NVIDIA, as usual, they're going to report a very nice earnings, but everybody's worried about the guidance for the future. And some analysts already speaking not about specifically NVIDIA, but on the companies, on general, on the equity market. They said that we might see lower earnings in 2025. So good question. I hope it worked with my answer. Okay. Jacqueline is asking, the highest leverage of AvaTrade, the signals are based on daily buys on signal section. It's not really related to our webinar, but I'm going to try to answer as I don't have any other. You're welcome, Brendan. Don't have any other questions, and I hope I'll get them by the time I finish with this question. So the highest leverage of AvaTrade, we have about 9 regulations, and it's not us who hires, who make it higher or lower the leverage. We have to comply with regulations. So depends on the regulations, you get the highest available leverage automatically. So we also work with Canada. It goes per instrument there, per market. You have different regulations. So check with your account manager. If you're not sure, you can also check with customer service, and it's all in the trading info. If you go to avatrade.com, go to trading info, you have margin requirements there. It says, and you can understand how much margin you need to provide and what's the leverage. Okay. All right, guys, we are about 25 minutes into the webinar, and I don't have any questions, so I'm going to give it a few more seconds, hoping that you will be generous for questions. And if we don't get any, I think we did great anyway. I was hoping to finish the hour. We have up to an hour, and if we do have questions, we'll continue. And if we won't have questions, I'm going to wish you a good evening. So let's give it another few seconds, right? Okay, no questions. Guys, I appreciate your efforts. Try to be more active next time so we can complete that. Oh, sorry, we do have a question here. RBA Governor Madame Bullock speaks tomorrow. What are your expectations? Oh, John, I also missed your previous question. Okay, good. Previous question is similar. Bank of Japan, Governor Ueda, how do you remember all their names? Speaks tomorrow. What are you expecting for JPY pairs? I don't have any expectations, but on the yen, I'm actually watching yen closely for probably about a year. It's very simple. I spoke on my Sundays webinars a lot that at some point, when the interest rate in Japan, they kept it at minus 0.1. At some point, they should raise the interest rate, and that was pretty much obvious. It was just a matter of time. So when that happened, we did have a move, and then they had another rate increase, and we had another move, and then we went in the opposite direction. I'm just trying to locate dollar yen. Here we go. So take a look. We've been going gradually for a very long time. Monthly chart, we started the move, if considering this support here from like 106, maybe you can consider that, or if you take it from 200 moving average, we started around 103, 104, and that was back in January 2021, and we just kept going straight until we hit October 22nd, the high of almost 152. Then we had a nice correction, and then we continue stepping higher. And the current or the recent high, this is monthly chart. Each candle is a month. 161.94, almost 162. Then we had the decision of Japan. We had a nice move to the downside. Then we had another move to the downside. We confirmed this pullback support, as you could see here. And now we are on the way up again. Now, nobody can say what he's going to say. By the way, he's really old, the guy. I saw once his press conference. It was not translated, so I didn't understand anything. But just watching him, he's pretty old. Just a remark. It doesn't mean that he doesn't know what he's doing. So even if I knew, I wouldn't be allowed to share that with you. I don't have an opinion. I just look at the chart in this case, and a few things can happen. We can continue and confirm that high here, also doable. We can also try to see what was the retracement approximate using the Fibonacci retracement. So we went through the 61.8. We could also come back from here. It could be anything, but judging by the the latest moves, this big candle erased the previous 2 days, and now we're trading in the middle of it. It looks like we're facing maybe a downside pressure here. I'm not sure. So I guess we'll find out. Nobody can tell you. I think even professional bankers wouldn't be able to answer that question for you, because we live in such an amazing world when it's very hard to predict things. And I think all this has been going on since about 2008, when we had this global crisis caused by mortgage-based securities in the States, when almost the whole economic world and financial world collapsed. So since then, they printed money, they injected funds, everything went upside down. Bad news became good news, and good news became bad news, because as long as the economy was doing bad, they kept on cutting the rates and keeping the rates negative or whatever that is. So not trying to confuse you, but it's not that simple. And that actually makes the market very unique and beautiful. It's not predictable sometimes, or most of the time. So that's, and if you take Australian dollar, we can't really know how it's going to affect, but as you could see, it's the opposite picture here. I mean, not the opposite. The dollar has been strong against all the currencies, including the Australian dollar. Plus, in Australian dollar weakness, a lot of role plays the China weakness. As you know, China orders a lot of goods from Australia and New Zealand. That's why those two currencies, Australian and New Zealand dollar, both, they are called actually commodity currencies. So China had a nice bounce, came back, erased 50% of the move that lasted for about 2 weeks in 2 days, and now we're just stuck in the same level. So if you take Australian dollar, again, whatever he's going to say, it could be priced in. He could say something new. It's similar to what Powell says or doesn't say, just a little bit smaller scale. Whatever Powell says has a more global effect. Whatever Australian or Japanese governor or any other governor says, it affects the local economy, of course, the local market, but not as global as the Powell speech. Australian right here, we've been going down, stepping down with the lower highs, lower lows. And as of now, we just had a 2 days bounce from the current support here around 0.6440. So let's see what's next. But great questions. I guess we should be seeing some moves or not if it's already priced in and there's nothing major. Usually I have a big moves when the announcement sounds like a surprise, right? When you expect the interest rate cuts and it's priced in, and then they say, okay, no cuts. I'm just, being, I give you an example here, a hypothetical example. So if the whole market thinks going to be a cut and there's no cut, the market reacts to it, or the opposite. They said no changes, and then surprise cut like we had. I think the first one this round, it was a Swiss bank did it, right? I think they started the first this process of cutting the rates. Okay, good questions. Thank you, and thank you for saving the day. We were about to close, right? Okay. Brendan is asking another question. What are your thoughts on 2025 general bullish or bearish on index? Will we see the January what more consolidated until Trump gets enough? I really don't know, but you know what? Let's see if I can find it. I was doing a market review for my team, and I think I saved it in my daily market document. Give me just 1 second if I can locate it. There are 2 articles there, so I took screenshots, and it actually directly answers your question about 2025. 1 second. I'm gonna find it now. Here we go. I think I'm almost there. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Here we go. There are 2 articles that I share with my team today. As you could see, today's date, even I put here 11/20. So this one, Trump wants to deport millions of immigrants. That could scramble the job market and raise prices. That's one, but it's not the one I meant to answer your question with. Here we go. Wall Street is lowering expectation for corporate profits in 2025. Should investors be concerned? And the picture looks very dark. So here, forecasts typically decline in the fourth quarter, but this year, high valuation are raising the stakes for investors. Wall Street analysts have been cutting the earnings expectation for the largest companies' corporate profits 2024. So that was right here, answer to your question about 2025. Again, will they be right? They could be, and maybe not. The same thing, like everybody was predicting continuation of a bull market in 2008, or when I came to trade in the year 2000, .com era was blooming until it started bursting and it went really, really fast down. So we don't really know. And again, that's the beauty of the market. Imagine you knew everything. It wouldn't be fun, right? You would be rich, lazy, and fat. Sorry to mention, that's kind of funny what I just said. But this is why we have to really work. Some of us have to work hard, and we try to trade, and we catch a little bit of profits here and there. Some are more successful than others, some are less. But that's the whole thing. So we'll see. It's going to be, I tell you one thing, it's going to be a hell of a fun year for everyone. With Trump being in, it's going to be a lot of excitement. Okay. Brendan, one other thing, your thought on market makers and liquidity pools. Do you have insights from your years in trading? This is such an amazing question, Brendan. I'm going to finish. Do you have insight from your years in trading and how the best approach for a retail trader? I'll share you in 2 words my story. When I came to prop trading, we only traded stocks. The first year I was in the office, we only traded NASDAQ exchange. and there was mostly tech companies, and there was mostly selling. And then I moved to another firm on Wall Street called WorldCo, one of the biggest day trading firms. I think they went out of business after a few years. There we can trade anything. We were licensed, and the company provided the funds, and we traded. But back then, I started finding out about this. They called them black boxes back then. Those were whatever you call today EAs or robots, automatic trading. But also, we learned, because when you trade back then, when we traded on Nasdaq, it was fully electronic. And when I went to WorldCoin, I started to trade also New York Stock Exchange. Each stock has a specialist, something you call market maker, right? Today it's a hybrid, and most of it is also electronic. But back then, in 2001, maybe 2002, those years, the beginning of 2000s, it was a New York Stock Exchange. There were actually physical floor, and each stock had a specialist. So if you trade, I don't know, IBM had a specialist, the market maker, with the computer and a few assistants that actually they made market. They took orders. They used computers to juggle those orders. So that was actually amazing. Back then, you could actually learn the habits of the market maker. Let's call him Joe Smith. You know that Joe Smith is ruling one of the stocks that you're trading. I used to trade a lot of stocks. We had indicators and everything. So, but if you trade specific company, you already learned the habits of that market maker. You know that now he's quiet. Maybe he went for lunch, and then he comes back, or during the lunch, that's his assistant playing around. So it's not the same game. So that was clear. But these days, like you said, there's so many things, so many exchanges. You have Arca, you have other things that you can trade on. Dark pools. Until now, I don't really know what those dark pools are. I never used one. I never tracked one, and I think that it is very important for us as retail traders that we have a plan. And I open a secret for you, which is not a secret. I'm just being sarcastic. We need to focus on really having a game where we have control over things. Right? It sounds a little bit weird, right? We can't really control the market, but what can we control? We control our losses. So the risk control. Before entering the trade, you have to know what you're risking. And if that risk is too much, maybe you shouldn't take that. And you can't really control. My favorite story is, I don't know if you heard of Mark Douglas. He's a trader. He was a coach for traders. He passed away a while ago, but you can just Google him. One of his books called Trading in the Zone. So I think it's in that book he mentioned it, that this old trading firm hired a technical analyst because they never used any technical analysis. So they hired this guy, and the head of the company called him to the office, and he said, okay, why don't you teach me what you know? So he showed him on the chart. You see, this is the support. I think it was about corn or something, or wheat. I don't remember. So you see, when the price comes to support, it shouldn't go any lower. So the old guy tells him, are you serious? Is it for sure? So yeah, this is what technical analysis, you have support, you have resistance. That's how we operate. So I said, okay. So he picks up the phone. He calls the floor trader. He tells him to sell, I don't know, 1,000 unit of, let's put it, wheat. I don't remember. So the order went through, and they look at the chart, and the chart just broke through the support. So the old man tells this young technical analyst, so you see, if I could do it, anybody could do it. Why am I telling you this story? You can't predict the market, and it doesn't matter if it's a dark pool or gray or black box or a hedge fund or anybody else. We will never know. So we try to analyze the market. We try to find an opportunity to have a potential. profit there, and we have to measure it against our risk if that risk is acceptable, right? Great question. Thank you very much. Artish is asking, hi, my name is Artish. There are any recommended indicators AvaTrade that may use for analysts when trading Forex short term? Many thanks. You see, there's we have most of the indicators available, but we can't tell you what to use. The classical one, you have RSI, moving averages, Bollinger Bands. You probably heard about them. You learn about them. They are available. You can use them, but we can't really recommend what's good for you, what's not good for you. It's totally up to you to choose. All right. Thank you for the question, Artish. Jacqueline is asking, the moving average on the chart 20, 50, 200. Okay. No, these are simple ones on this chart. 50, 100, and 200. These are classical moving averages, and this is the daily chart in this case. So you have, in this case, you have a green one when you bring the instrument that has less lanes in it. So you have green one is the 50-day moving average, yellow it's 100, and the red is 200. Right. So I just chose these three colors. It's kind of a traffic light, right, with the yellow being in the middle. All right. So that's a classical thing that just you could see sometimes if it makes sense. All right. Good questions, guys. I appreciate your questions. We still have 15 minutes, so maybe we'll actually stretch it to the full hour. Do we have any more questions? And you are really, really amazing audience today. You're not really an audience, you're participants. You're running the show. I'm just answering the questions. Wow, we did great. Jacqueline, thank you very much. Thank you for your appreciation. I appreciate your appreciation as well. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Thank you. You're probably tired. I am a little bit tired as well, but this gives me energy. So hopefully we'll make a full hour next time. Prepare your questions. We'll be happy to have double or triple of questions what we have today. And don't forget, NVIDIA is reporting today. Going to be exciting. So market in US closes about 1 hour and 14 minutes. And you know what, just before I let you go, I want to see what's NVIDIA doing now. Let's see, what are you, NVIDIA? Oh, did I lose it? Here we go. 144, it's lower than yesterday. I think it was 147 yesterday. Let's see, 1 hour chart. There was a sell-off when the market went down. So today's high was 147.13 and the low was 142.64, about $5 range. Okay, let's see. Gonna be exciting. Okay, have a good evening, guys. All the best, and we'll be back next week. Take care.